Well, welcome everyone this afternoon, this lovely afternoon, to Coffee with Clients. And my name is Weslyn Biggers. If we have not met, I am an independent Optavia coach and honored to be one of your hostesses today here with Coffee and Clients. And this is such an incredible time. If this is your first time here, you're in for a treat, not because I'm hosting at all, but because you are about to experience a little more of Optavia and some amazing community today. And that's what it's really all about. So I want to just let you know the purpose. Why are we here? Because this may be your first time. This may be your sixth time. This is week 6. We're on week 6. We're in element 2, and we're talking about a healthier mind today. But I want to let you know, if you don't already know, or if you just need a little refresher, Optavia is a 4-component program. We have our nutrition plan, which utilizes Optavia's fuelings. We have the habits of health. We have our community, and we have our coach. And those 4 components are absolutely vital to your success, not only in the short term, but definitely in the long term. But, you know, when we're thinking about healthier mind and we're talking about that, you know, when many of us start this journey because we want what? We want a healthier body. Many of us come into this, we're wanting weight loss. We're wanting to feel better. We're wanting more energy. We're wanting freedom. There's just so many things. And we honestly start this a lot of times, many people, we have to start going, this is what I want to first address. There's some things I want to get rid of. I was ready to get rid of fatigue. I was ready to get rid of 10 pounds. I actually dropped 18. I was thrilled by that. And I got back to my pre-baby and pre-wedding weight. I was just thrilled. I couldn't believe it. But, you know, when I started this journey, it was about the weight loss. It was about the energy. It was about the physical things. But what happened is, as soon as I started this journey, I realized that there were some things happening up here that had led to that extra weight and those habits that took me to where I was. And, you know, one of the things I realized was that I'm going to have to change the way I think in order to change the way that I eat, the way that I fuel. And the amazing thing is, the program comes in, right? We get this amazing, simple nutrition plan, whether you're on the 5 and 1, 4 and 2, or nursing moms, or whatever your plan is. We get this amazing, super simple, doesn't complicate your life, saves you time, fuels your body well, nutritional plan, right? And we get much more than that. We talked about that earlier, all the 4 components, but we get this simple structure to help us get started. And when I plugged myself into that structure, I'm like, oh, this is easy. I can do this. And I did. But what I realized just a few days in was that some of my habits were going to have to change. I had a habit of eating and overeating and sometimes binging in the evening after my kids went to bed. I did not fully realize why I did it, and until I started on my program. And then when the evening would come and I would have a fueling left after my kids went to bed, and I wanted to eat everything in the sun, my habit said, go to the pantry, open the fridge, open the freezer. It's time. It's a heyday, girl. And I said, well, my structure doesn't permit that. My body is perfectly fueled. Then I had to address what was going on up here. And I started going, why do I do this? And I realized pretty quickly that I did not have healthy boundaries during the day to fuel my body well. I would pour myself out for everyone else. I was so focused on my to-do list and taking care of my kids and everything else in the house getting done and being perfect, that I neglected myself all day long. Anyone relate with that? And so at the end of the day, I went into a little bit of a victim mentality. Dr. A talks about this as well in the Habits of Health. And I went, well, I deserve to eat whatever I want. I've taken care. It was a very negative frame of mind. I deserve to eat whatever I want. I've taken care of myself all day. And then sometimes I would go, and I'm nursing a baby. I would tell myself that too. I burned 500 calories just nursing a baby, and he was attached to me all day. I'm sorry. I should not go there. Anyway, so I felt very poured out. And then I had to come to terms with, now, Weslyn, whose fault is it? Right? If we really stop for a moment and go, whose fault is it that I've created these habits? Now, I didn't say that to make myself feel bad, like, oh, it's my fault, but I'm the dominant force in my life. I I make my decisions. I make my choices. Every habit I have is because I created it for myself. And so I said, whose fault is it that you pour yourself out all day? Don't stop to take lunch. Don't drink enough water, that you don't rest when you need to rest, that you feel this to have a perfectly clean house all the time with an infant and a toddler. Like, that's unrealistic expectations, girl. And I had these conversations with myself and I said, okay, so if I'm going to do this plan successfully, there's some mindsets that have to change and habits have to follow. And so I started making more intentional efforts to fuel my body better during the day, but also take better care of myself during the day. There were times when my kids would take a nap or my kids wouldn't take a nap or whatever, that I would sit down and watch a TV show or read a book or just sit outside and enjoy the fresh air or go for a walk. And I just figured out how to take better care of myself so that at the end of the day, I didn't feel, even if I had had a long day and had still poured myself out, I had done a better job of taking care of myself. And so I addressed the source of the negative mindset that was leading to my nighttime binge eating. And again, 2.5 months later, after having that big breakthrough, I reached my 18-pound goal weight loss. And it's been increasing. My health has been just increasing in, I would say, ultra health every year for 5 years. It's been an incredible journey. So I wanted to kind of share with you for a minute why we address healthy mind, right? And I'm going to bring on the amazing Neely Dyson. If you don't know Neely, or if this is your first time meeting her, you're going to love her. She is a guru of the habits of health. She is a product of the habits of health. You're going to see her before and after. You're going to hear her transformation, and she's going to share her wisdom with you. So I just want to encourage you, take some notes, be a sponge, and just soak this up because you're going to love this time. And Neely, thank you for being here this morning. I know it is an act of love that you were here sharing from your heart. And so we thank you for sharing today.
Absolutely. I am honored to be here with you guys. I am a product of the habits of health. When I started this program, let me just show you my before. Let's see if I can do that. Sharing screen, maybe. Yeah, here we go. So this was my before. I'm 80 pounds heavier. I don't know if you can tell, but I am wearing a heart monitor in this photo. Yeah, it was getting really hairy around here. So let me see if I can stop sharing that. Okay, so in 2020, the world shut down, right? Prior to the world shutting down, I had multiple griefs in my life. We lost several family members. I lost my job. My husband was losing his job. My weight was getting heavier by the day. You saw that picture, 80 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was having these weird episodes of passing out. My blood pressure would go skyrocket high and then drop low. And I found myself in the hospital. I found myself thinking I had a heart attack in the middle of COVID. So there was that fear too of being at the hospital by myself for the first time ever. I'm sitting in a room, and the only thing I could do was cry out to the Lord. And I asked, what has happened to me? How did I get in this state? I'm 47. Am I dying? What's going on? And I will never forget this conversation in my spirit that he reminded me. I've been teaching people as someone who's in ministry that I'm body, soul, and spirit. We're body, soul, and spirit. And I had grieved him because I had not taken care of myself fully. And I thought he meant my body. I thought for sure he meant my soul and spirit were in great shape. Soul being your mind, will, and emotions. So I thought, when I get home, I'm going to figure something out. So I called my amazing coach, Amy Solito. I had watched her lose a massive amount of weight. And I was like, okay, I gave her all my excuses. I had a really bad mindset. I didn't recognize that at the moment. I gave her all my excuses why it wouldn't work, but then I decided I had to do something. So I said, 30 days, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go all in, still wearing my heart monitor. My box gets there, and I opened it, and I was like, okay, I think I can handle this. 5 fuelings, got it. And then I opened the book, and what happened next, I can't even I hope to be able to explain this to you. I opened this book and I did that first element. I wrote out my story and I didn't like it. I was 47 and in a place I didn't like. And I evaluated that. And then I got to this element 2, and it starts talking about these 6 components that we're going to start instilling in our life. And we get to a healthy mind. And I'm like, healthy mind? What's that have to do with it? Everything. If you don't have a positive mindset, if you don't have a healthy mindset, the rest of this is not going to take hold. You're not going to be able to instill those habits. This is the key factor if you don't have a healthy mindset. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's because that. I had all the blame to go around. My family of origin, they're worriers, they're negative. The griefs of life, the pain of life, the things I was walking through at the moment, I had plenty of things to blame. But you know what? I am the only person that can do this, that can choose to have a healthy, happy life, or sit in my little teacup and just have a pity party, right? So Dr. Anderson talks about a healthy mindset here. Your long-term success depends on choosing the best strategies and actions to support your health. This includes taking time to examine how you make your choices, understand your patterns and triggers, helping you to maintain a sense of calm and resilience regardless of what life throws at you. This great self-awareness is going to help you in this rapidly changing world. Isn't that what we want? Don't we want to have that peace and that calm and be able to respond and not react? And I just kept reading into this and I'm like, okay, Lord, what am I doing here? What is going on? He starts talking about self-efficacy and I'm like, okay, well, I got to look that word up. A person that has high self-efficacy views challenges of life as something to be conquered, not something to hide behind or to fear. We here at Optavia, we know that the obstacle is the way. We have to go through the challenge to get to the other side. Y'all, this is so rich when you start diving in and start uncovering some things. We have to be willing. And he gives us a chart to decide, are we willing to change our mindset? Do we think we have the capability to change that mindset? Are we ready to change that mindset? To be honest with you, I was somewhere between 6 and 7. I didn't know. I thought I wanted to, but I didn't know. So I went on ahead and I started digging into the mindset. I just jumped ahead to element 4 and the chart that he gave. And I'm going to share that real quick. If I can screen share one more time. Let's see. That's right here. The above the line and below the line chart got me thinking. It got the wheels spinning. I was like, oh, I see. My mindset. I've got to make sure that I'm being open and curious, have a growth mindset. I'm creative. I'm dreaming again. I had to remember to do those things. You remember when you were a kid? Has anybody been around a 4-year-old lately? They are curious. They are creative. They are wanting to know why and how, and I'm going to be this. I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to be a superhero. I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going to be all 3 all at the same time, right? They have this belief in themselves and this belief in their future. They have growth mindsets. We all, as adults, maybe have had some disappointments and some pains and some griefs, and it starts to close us off and create this defensive, offended, blaming, fixed mindset. But guess what? We don't have to stay there. We can go back to that childlike, creative, open growth mindset. That is a fluid place. We get to choose if we will dream big or if we will stay small. We get to choose if we are going to surround ourselves with like-minded people that are growing and developing themselves to call us to the higher level. Y'all, you're in the room with some amazing people that are leaning in, wanting to grow, wanting to develop themselves to become the highest version of themselves, the best version of themselves, who want to be personally responsible for their actions, for their thoughts, for their mannerisms, right? You're in the room with them. You have a coach, you have a community. Your community page is a fabulous place. Your coach is a fabulous place to start sharing. When you're struggling or when you're having a great day, encourage one another to help each other build you up, right? Let's build each other up. You know, as I started getting into this and started coaching, I found that this coaching community is even better for that. I have been in rooms with Wesleyan and with Pat and Karen and with so many other leaders who I see their mindset. I see how open and creative and positive and abundant, wanting to give that out. I see that and I want to become more like that. You know, they say that you are like the 5 people that you surround yourself with most, but you're not really just like them. You're the average of them. I want to get in the room with people with growth mindsets so that I can become that. So this is a great room to be in, but if you want to go higher, come on with us. Let's coach. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But seriously, this is, you have to become the dominant force in your own life. Dr. Anderson tells us that. And the only way to do that is to take responsibility and stop blaming the situations of the past and start focusing on the future. Creating that healthy mind is going to allow you to instill all the other habits that we want to instill. It's going to create the life that is going to give you the most fulfillment. Not only your life, but can you imagine if we all started improving our mindsets and getting a healthy mindset, this world would be a better place. So let's help the world become a better place. Let's start with us. Let's start with our community. Let's encourage one another to grow in this. You know, Dr. Anderson gives us in the book there in element 2, he asks, what are 3 things that we can start today to change our thoughts, our actions, our mindsets? What are 3 things you can do? What are 3 things you could stop doing? I really want to encourage you today. Reach out to your coach. Think about those things. Reach out to your coach and let them know what are the 3 things you could do to change your mindset today, to build that healthier mindset. What are 3 things you need to stop doing?
Oh, love it so much. Neely, you are amazing at breaking down the habits of health and explaining it, which Dr. A is amazing in the way he packages it all. But I never get tired of hearing the way you share the habits of health. Thank you so much. Were you done or did you have something else to say? Because I just got so excited, I just jumped right in.
You're good. You're good. I'm sure there was probably 3 or 4 more pages of notes, but I feel like we might have touched it.
You know, there's always more to say. Like, I'm not a short-winded girl. I could always keep on talking about this, but I actually want to bring on some other people.
Yeah. And the beauty is we're going to do a deep dive in element 4. So this is just that introduction. Are you ready? Are you really ready to change your mindset? And what can that do for you?
I love that. And let's just be real for a minute, Neely. Let's just have a little dialogue here for a second. How long have you been on your journey?
June 20th is June of 20 is when I started.
Okay, awesome. I started my journey in August, end of September, end of August, beginning of September of 2017. So 5 years for me, 2.5 years for you, right? I'm still on my journey of getting, and I love that Dr. A doesn't say healthy mind or healthiest. He's like healthier. Healthier mind means we're constantly in progress. I have moments where I'm like, wow, my mindset was off. We got to shift. Do you too?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually just this Thanksgiving, I shared the habits of health or the tips that we had given for Thanksgiving, just like you all received here on the client. what are we calling this? Coffee with clients. So I was sharing those with my clients, doing videos, sharing them on our one-on-one calls. And then I had a moment. I just slipped below the line. I let some emotions get in the way, and that started a little eating pattern that I didn't need to have anymore. It was a little grief pattern that was floating around, and just went to something that reminded me of my grandmother. And I don't know, I'd been telling people I was only going to eat 3 bites of the one thing. And you know what I did? I got on Facebook Live and shared with my clients, hey, I'm human. I made a mistake. But guess what? I'm coming back up. I'm doing the next right thing. I got right back on plan. I shifted my mindset. I dealt with the emotion that I was feeling, and I went to the gym, worked it out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I love it all. And I'm glad you shared that, because I know that sometimes, you know, I felt this myself before. I've observed this in other people, even in my own clients, like, oh, I messed up. I messed up.
Mhm.
And, you know, we don't use the word cheat in Optavia land. We use choice. You know, I made a choice that wasn't in line with my goals. If you want a little more reading on this, go look up Dr. A Stop, Challenge, and Choose. It's a beautiful free ebook. Your coach can also give you the link to that. But Dr. A talks about choice. It's not a cheat. We make choices, and your choices are either in line with your goals or maybe they're not. And you brought up a really good point that I'm sure many people just connected with, that the holidays are sometimes the most emotional. And there are different triggers during the holidays for some people than are others. Some of us don't have family members that are with us anymore that we wish were. And we have strong connections to them based on food a lot of times. And I still have a certain soda sitting in my fridge that my father brought to my house before he passed away, that I have not drank it, but it is still there. I have a strong connection to that last thing that he touched that is in my fridge. And, you know, we have connections with, sometimes there's, I hate to use the word drama, but there's conflict during the holidays. Whose house are we going to? And what are we doing? And, you know, we're people, we're flawed. And so emotions are high, and the weather changes, and that has an effect if we're not getting enough sun and all the things. And so I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad that you made it real, because we all go through those things. I have those moments myself too, but I love that you said it's fluid. We can choose to be above or below the line, and you can switch that quickly. I found myself below the line this morning, and I was like, why am I here? Boom, right back up. Like, I just pulled myself up. Join us back here next week, and we will see you all on Monday, and then again next Friday for Coffee with Clients. Have a great day.